glad that you have joined us. We are starting a brand new series, just like you can see, called Choose Your Own Adventure. And so this series is a little bit different, and it's really pushing me outside of my comfort zone, because in putting this message together and having some conversations with God, normally when I speak, I'm very careful with the words I use because details matter and words matter. And so in putting this together, this is one of those series where I was like, God, I'm not really vibing with what you're telling me here, because I'm the one who has to get up and say this stuff, all right? And this is different. And so normally when I speak, I understand something. I understand that you and I are in the same boat and we are rowing the same boat. I understand that I am just as messed up as you are and that I am just as broken as you are. But I also understand that I am just as saved as you are and that I am just as dependent on a Savior as you are. But in putting this together, if you've ever heard me speak, I will always use the words we and us and our, because we're doing this together. And God spoke to me during this, and he was like, Josh, I need you to do something. I need you to change something. I need you to go outside of your comfort zone. But there's a purpose behind it. And so during this series, I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and I need you to understand where I'm coming from. This is coming from a place of love, but God's like, I want you to change some things. I don't want you to say we, and I don't want you to say us, and I don't want you to say our. I want you to say the word you, which is going to seem really bad because it's going to seem like I am separating myself from you, but I want you to understand that I am right there with you in this. But the reason that when I looked at this and I saw how God was putting it all together, the reason he wants me to use the word you is because when someone gets up and they use the word you and they say that to you, they go, you this and you that, you take it personally. And so God was like, listen, I really want people to take this personally. I want people to really have this impact their souls, and I want them to really listen. And anytime you hear the word you go, okay, me? Well, what about you? And you start to think about other people. I'm just telling you up front, I know that I'm in the same boat with you. And I've already gotten my teeth kicked in sitting at my desk going through this stuff with God, going, oh man, this is rough. This is rough. And so when you hear me say the words you, I'm not being condescending and I'm not being like I'm in a higher place than you. I am just delivering the message the way that God has asked me to deliver it. And so this series called Choose Your Own Adventure is we're going to be talking a lot and spending a lot of time talking about you. You're going to hear me say that a ton, and that is by design. And we're going to start with this. Whether you know it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not, you have already been on your adventure. It started the day you were born, and it is going to end the day you die. And it's like Dave said last week, that little hash mark in the middle is really important. And you are on an adventure. Most people don't even know that they are on an adventure. And you're sitting there and you're going to say, listen, Josh, I've been with you so far. I've heard a lot of the things you've said, but you don't know my life. It is anything but adventurous. I am not Indiana Jones. There's nothing really spectacular going on in my life. You know what I mean? It is really a life of the mundane. You don't understand. I am not on an adventure. But you are. And here's the deal. We're gonna start to get real, and we're gonna start to get honest right up front. Okay? Life to most people is anything but exciting or adventurous. To most people, the life that they live is anything but exciting or adventurous. And if you were to poll a bunch of people and say, hey, listen, is your life adventurous? They'd be like, no, it's not. And I'm going to tell you why. Because that is 100% the devil's plan. That is his plan. Because he knows that he has done something really amazing. He has created a culture. He has created a mindset. He has created a world in which we live in where it is a false reality and a false belief, and it is nothing more than a great distraction. Because he knows certain things. He knows that if I can do those things, then I can keep you away from God's plan. And if I can keep you away from God's plan, which is this amazing, epic adventure, I win. If I can keep you distracted, if I can keep you believing in something that is false, if I can keep you believing in this culture with this mindset that is not real, then I can keep you from the adventure and the plan that God has for you. And so we tend to buy into this because the way that he does that is he gives us exactly what we want. He gives us everything that we want. He gives us our routine. He gives us our comfort. He gives us the things that we look for that make us happy, that keep us content. And people, if you look around and you think about the life that has been lived, and you maybe even have to put yourself into this category because this is about you, you're going to look at this and you're going to see that people love their routine. They enjoy the ease of knowing the things that are going to happen and how things are going to flow. People savor peace and safety in the day-to-day process. People worship their spreadsheets and their calendars and their paychecks, and they adore their weekends and their vacations and their holidays, and they say, listen, don't mess with my algorithm. I like the way that things unfold, and I like knowing what is going to happen, and I can kind of figure out how tomorrow is going to unfold. There's really, if there is going to be a surprise, it's going to be, I can handle that, but I really know how things are going to go throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, from year to year to year. No adventure. I have things the way that I like them, and I kind of know how they are because that gives me control. That gives me the opportunity to move pieces around, and I can control the chaos that happens within my world. And that's exactly what the devil wants to give you, this false sense of control and this false sense of safety and peace, because as long as it keeps you distracted and he keeps you over here, he can keep you from doing what God wants you to do over here. And here's what I want to share with you, that you may have that life, you may have lived that life, but here's what I want to share with you. That is not how God created us. That is not how the creator of the universe made us. He designed us. He designed you. See, I caught myself right there. He designed you to be adventurous. He designed you to live a life that is rooted in adventure. He designed you to strive and to grow and to stretch. And he designed you to be pushed and to be pulled and to be squeezed and to be manipulated. He designed you that way. He designed you to explore and to search for his greatness and for his reasoning. He designed you for an adventure. And you say, Josh, that is a great theory. I would like to see some biblical proof for this, so I have it for you. We don't have a whole lot of time because I got a lot of information to get through, but I've got two passages, and there's hundreds in the Old Testament, and there's hundreds in the New Testament that you can find, and I'm just going to give you two. The first one is Matthew 4:19. Put it right up here. Then he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Do you honestly think that when Jesus went up to the disciples and he says, hey, listen, follow me, they're like, well, this is going to be boring. I'd rather stay here and do what I'm doing. When he said, come, follow me, they went on an adventure. They were doing the mundane. They were doing the day-to-day. They were happy with their algorithm. They were happy with the way things were going. And then Jesus comes along, he messes it all up. He says, you, come follow me. All right. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Can you imagine the stories that they were telling people? They're like, listen, imagine if you left right now and you went on a 3.5-year adventure with Jesus and you come back home to tell your spouse. You're like, you have no idea what I just went through. It was not the mundane. It was an adventure. 2 Corinthians 11:26, we have the Apostle Paul. In journeys, often in perils of water, in perils of robbers, in perils of my own countrymen, in perils of the Gentiles, in perils in this city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren. That sounds like an adventure, does it not? Does that sound, when was the last time in your journey that you took a journey, number one, but you were in perils of water or perils of robbers? We were designed to be adventurous. We have Old Testament, Jeremiah 33:3. Call to me and I will answer to you and show you great and mighty things which you do not know. Things that you do not know. You have to search for those things. You have to go out and find those things. You have to be active in those things. You're not just going to get those things doing the mundane. In Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your paths. He will direct your paths into the unknown. He will direct your paths in this adventure so that you're not wandering aimlessly out into this place that you do not know or what's going to come. He's going to direct your paths. He's going to make your ways straight so that you can find his greatness because he has designed you for an adventure. Here's what we miss so much is that your adventure is custom made for you by the one who designed you. So he's giving you everything that you need. He's equipped you with everything that you need to go on this adventure and to be successful in this adventure. He has designed it uniquely for you. It is insanely unique for you. Your adventure and my adventure will look nothing alike. The adventure that your spouse has will look nothing like the one that yours is, and your children or your parents or your coworkers or anyone else in this church. Every single one of you has a uniquely designed adventure that the creator of the universe who designed you made this adventure for you. And it is all for his greatness. Some of the cool things about this adventure is that you are the navigator. And you navigate this adventure by the choices that you make, and the choices you make will determine everything that happens in this adventure. The people you meet, the places you go, the things you do, because you are the navigator, and so you will navigate your way through this adventure by the choices that you make. And here is the really crazy, insane, cool part about this whole thing. It's your choice. But if you are brave enough, and you are strong enough, and you choose, because it is your choice, to let God be the navigator, everything changes. Because the choices mean everything. If you choose, and you're bold enough, and you choose to give that power and that authority to walk away from the mundane, and you choose to give that to God and let him navigate, you will go where you have never been. You will serve in ways you have never dreamed you would serve. You will find love that is unimaginable, joy that is indescribable, and you will build relationships that will be unfathomable. Because the adventure that God has for you over here is 1,000,000 times greater than the mundane that you live over here in this lie that Satan has given in his plan. As we get ready to go on an adventure or a trip or a journey, and we're getting ready to open God's word and see what God has for us this morning, and this is all leading up to it, but just like any trip, just like any adventure, when we go on vacation or we go on a trip, there are certain things we have to do. We have to make plans, we have to free up some time, we have to know the destination, and we have to pack accordingly, all of those things, right? Let me tell you, we just went to camp 2 weeks ago with teenagers. We took 50 teenagers, all right? We had a charter bus. I loved the charter bus. They open up the bottom, you just sling luggage in there, you don't have to worry about it. It's not yours, who cares? It's teenagers, just throw it in there, right? Honest to God's truth. I had 6 dudes, middle school and high school, for a week of camp with nothing but a backpack. That was it. 4 middle school girls, 60 pounds soaking wet. 2 suitcases, a backpack, and a duffel bag. For one of them. I was like, no, we gotta pack accordingly, right? Well, listen, I was in a room with some middle school guys. They opened their suitcase one time. One time. That was it. And I was like, this is disgusting. I have some stories from camp. Josh does not eat in bed, okay? Josh does not eat in bed, okay? But the individual who sleeps in the bunk above Josh at camp ate in bed. So Josh woke up with Chex Mix on his face and chips on his face. Isn't that right, Travis Garner back there? Isn't that right, Travis Garner? Yeah, don't you shake your head no in Lion Church. Let me tell you, when we go on a trip and we go, that's an adventure. You want an adventure? Come with me to camp. That's an adventure. When we go on an adventure, we have to pack accordingly. And here's where we're going to go this morning. God's going to take care of everything else on the trip except for one part, the packing. He's going to leave that to us. God's going to make the plans. He's going to make the destination. He's going to make all of those other things. He's going to take care of freeing up your time. He'll do all of that. Trust me, he will do all of that. But the packing is the one thing that he will leave up to you and he will leave up to me. Because how we pack is our responsibility and what we pack is our responsibility. And as someone who is on a journey, somebody who is on the journey that God has for him, I'm going to give you some advice, okay? Here's the best advice that I can give you as someone who's already walking down this path and over in this adventure right here, all right? Here's what I'm going to tell you. You better pack light. It is a long journey. It is a hard journey. It is a difficult journey. And you need to pack light. And what I mean by that is that you need to take what you need to survive, and that is it. And you say, Josh, what does that mean? What does that mean in church? What does that mean spiritually? What it means is this: the lighter you pack, the easier things are going to be. And when I tell you that we are going to pack for this and to pack light, the very first thing you have to do is you have to unpack some stuff. Because you carry a lot of baggage with you from past trips and from past experiences, from past things you've done. And when I tell you to pack light, what I'm telling you is you need to unpack a bunch of stuff, and you need to get rid of a bunch of some baggage that you have from the past, because it's going to weigh you down. See, what I mean by that is that you choose to hold on to this baggage, and it's once again your choice, because it is choose your own adventure. And so you're going to choose this adventure, but you have to choose the things that you're going to take with you. And you, see, I'm just as guilty. You like to choose to carry your past baggage with you everywhere you go. And you like to choose to let it be a priority in your life. And you like to choose to allow it to control how you live your life. And you choose to take that into new relationships. And you choose to let that baggage weigh you down. And you choose to never let that baggage go. But you're the only one who can choose to stop carrying it. God has an amazing solution for this problem. See, we're not the first ones that have dealt with this. We're not the first ones that God has had to deal with who's going through all this. God's had to deal with this in the past, and we're going to be in Isaiah chapter 43. I'm going to read from a New King James. We're going to start in verses 15 and read through verses 21. Verse 15, he says, I am the Lord, your Holy One, the Creator of Israel, your King. Thus says the Lord, who makes a way in the sea and a path through the mighty waters, who brings forth the chariot and horse, the army and the power. They shall lie down together, they shall not rise. They are extinguished like they are quenched like a wick. Do not remember the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you know it? I will even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. The beast of the field will honor me, the jackals and the ostriches, because I give waters in the wilderness and rivers in the desert, to give drink to my people, my chosen. This people I have formed for myself. They shall declare my praise. And you say, Josh, what in the world? Where are you going? There's something amazing here that God has for us in Isaiah in the Old Testament. And what we know about Isaiah is he is a prophet of God. And so God uses Isaiah to give messages. And he has this message for Israel, because Israel has gotten to the place where they have forgotten the power of the all-powerful. And they have forgotten who they were dealing with. And they have forgotten who God was. And so that Isaiah is having this conversation with them. And he's saying, listen, I know you've been through a ton of really amazing, awesome times, and I know you've been through a ton of really difficult times. I know things have been really, really, really good and bad at times, but you guys have forgotten who you're dealing with. And so I have to deliver this message, and this is what God is telling me to tell you, and so here's the information that I have for you, and I want you to look at this in verse 15. God is making sure, since they forgot who they were dealing with and they forgot the power of the all-powerful, God makes sure that he is going to make this crystal clear before the day is over, who they are dealing with and who their God is and who they worship and who is communicating with them. He's going to be crystal clear with the information he wants them to have. And I want you to look at this. When I was looking at this in the original language, it is really amazing. Here's some things that we're going to learn this morning. Verse 15, this is the greeting that God starts with. I am the Lord, your Holy One, the Creator of Israel, your King. There is a lot to unpack right here. The first thing we're going to look at where he says, they're going to put it up on the screen, is I am the Lord. Whenever you see capital L-O-R-D in the Old Testament, that means he is claiming his name, Jehovah, and he is claiming his lordship, his rank. He is pulling rank and saying, it is me, your Lord, Jehovah, in case you don't know my name, the one, the only, your God. I am pulling rank on you. He goes on, listen to this introduction. Listen to it. I am the Lord, comma, no breath. Your Holy One. Your Holy One. He was proclaiming his eminence as being sacred. Holy. Holy. There is none holier than me. Next, he moves on to the Creator of Israel. Your Maker. The maker of everything, as a matter of fact. Then he goes on to this last one, which is really personal, your king, the one who sits on the throne, that there is no one or nothing higher than me. That's an introduction. That is an introduction. Oh, we know who we're talking to now. We're sorry we forgot the power of the all-powerful. But he says, listen, I don't want there to be any misunderstanding or confusion. I want to make things clear, but I think some of you are a little hard-headed, and I need to re-jog your memories even a little bit further. So let me tell you something. He goes on, and this is what we're going to learn in verses 16 and 17. He says, thus saith the Lord. Okay, I've already told you who I am. Now this is what I'm saying to you. And he goes on, and what he's saying to them is, listen, I was the one who. I was the one who. For example, I was the one who came up with that crazy, insane plan for you to cross the Red Sea when the Egyptian soldiers were coming after you. I was the one who had that plan. I was the one. Remember when you were slaves in Egypt and the Egyptians were chasing you? I was the one who had that plan. I was the one who divided the Red Sea so you could cross on dry land, not wet land, not moist land, not squishy land, not damp land, completely dry land at the bottom of a sea. I was the one who held walls of water back over 30 feet high like they were stone so that you could pass through there. I was the one who did that. I was the one who did the impossible. By the way, guys, not only was I the one who did all that, do you remember those soldiers that were chasing you from Egypt? Do you remember that? If you were to look in Exodus chapter 14, you'd find out that it says that there were 600 chariots. That does not include the soldiers that were with them. That is just the chariots that were there. He says, remember those angry, bloodthirsty killers who wanted you dead? Yeah, I was the one who made them permanent residents at the bottom of the Red Sea. I was the one who destroyed them like they were nothing. As a matter of fact, I was the one who destroyed them like they were the wick, a flame on the wick of a candle. That's what I did to them. That's how insignificant they were to me. I was the one who did that. Do you know my power now? Do you remember my power? Do you understand who I am? Now, if you've ever heard me speak, you know I'm not going to just blow past this one without doing a little significant history and culture thing for you, because this was amazing when I researched it. Details matter, words matter, and God says, listen, I extinguished them like they were just a flame on a candle's wick. So I started to dig a little bit, and here's what I want to share with you. There were 600 chariots, okay? Most people, when they understand or they read or they look at the event that took place when the Israelites crossed the Red Sea, when the Red Sea was parted, okay, these are the chariots that the Egyptians had, okay? These are what they look like. They're covered in a ton of bronze. I have 3 examples so you can see it. So this is one. This is another one. This would have been like Pharaoh and his royalty and stuff. You can see where the bronze is all through the chariot in certain areas. Then we have another one that's just the plain chariot, just covered with medallions and bronze and different metals, just like that. And that's what their chariots look like. But here's what people tend to not understand, and I don't know why, because it's crystal clear right in your Bible, that the parting of the Red Sea and the crossing of the Red Sea is an event that took place at night. It took place at nighttime. And what a lot of people don't understand is, and when you read it in Exodus, you'll find out that during the day that God was there in a pillar of cloud during the day, and at night he was a pillar of fire. And what that did is it provided protection, and it protected lack of vision, and it gave all these things to the Israelites. So you have the Israelites who are camped by the Red Sea, and they're getting ready to, they're backed up. They've got the Egyptian army coming at them this direction. They've got the Red Sea in this direction, and it's as long and as far as you can see, and as far as you can see that way. And they're like, we have nowhere to go, and we're backed up, and now it's nighttime. And so God has this pillar of smoke, like imagine a massive tornado that is just spinning, but it's just a pillar of smoke. And the Egyptians, they can't get past it. They can't see past it. They're kind of trying to figure stuff out. Then you have the Israelites on the other side. God parts the waters, and they start to walk through the water on dry land. Now, as the army is coming after them, God moves that pillar, but this is at nighttime. So it is not a pillar of smoke, it is a pillar of fire. And as the Israelites are walking through the water this way, there is a moving pillar of fire that is behind them, separating them from the Egyptian army that is trying to kill them and run them down and destroy them with their chariots and everything. And as they're going through, the reflection from this pillar of fire off of all the brass from those chariots dances like the flame on a candle. Because God is looking at it from up top and he's like, this is so cute. This is so cute. They think they're big and they're bad. They're glimmering like a little flame on a wick of a candle off of my reflection of a giant pillar of fire. When the Israelites get to the other side, he says, I snuffed them out like they were the flame, literally. And he smashes those two walls of water and crushes them and makes them permanent residents at the bottom of the Red Sea. You say, Josh, why is this important for us to know? Because it was important for them to know. It's really important. God wanted them to know, and he wanted them to remember the power of the all-powerful. He wanted them to remember who they were dealing with. He wanted them to know that he was God, he was all-powerful, and he was the creator of everything. And once he reminded them of that, he goes to the very next thing, which is really important for me and you. It was extremely important for them, and it's just as important for me and you today. He says, listen, I just reminded you about who I am and what I've done for you in the past and the things that have happened and the power that I have. And now I'm going to tell you something that you don't want to hear. I'm going to tell you something you need to hear. This next information is really important. I have plans for you. And those plans are for you to go and have an adventure into the unknown. Because I have plans for you out in the wilderness. I have plans for you away from your place of safety, your home. I have plans for you out where you feel safe. I have plans for you in difficult places. I have plans for you out in the wilderness and in the unknown and in the future. But before I take you there, we got to get something straight. I need you to unpack some things because this is causing us some problems. He gave them the same message that he's given us today. He says, listen, here's what I need you to unpack. I need you to get rid of some baggage. I need you to get rid of some stuff from the past. Remember that event that I just told you about where I did those awesome things? I let you remember my power? Forget it. Forget it all. Forget about it. Matter of fact, forget about every good event that I've ever done for you. Forget about every amazing thing that I've done for you. Forget about every miracle you witnessed. Forget about every single amazing thing that you've seen me do. Forget about the tasks that I've done. Forget about the victories you've ever had. Forget about all of it. Forget about it. You know what? Forget about all the terrible things that happened too. Forget about all the bad things that happened. Forget about the horrible, horrible things that happened. Forget about being slaves, wondering, listen, forget the hurt, forget the pain, forget the torture, forget not knowing if it's ever going to end, forget the abuse and the shame and the rejection, forget the bad, the ugly, the disgusting garbage that happened to you. Forget about all of it, no matter how terrible it was. Forget about it just as much as you're going to forget about all the amazing, great things that I did and the love that I had for you. Forget about all of that stuff. None of it. Forget about it. Because the past is simply the past and there's nothing you can do about it. And if you don't forget about it, you're going to let your past dictate what you're going to do in the future in the unknown. And that's not the plan that I have for you. If you linger on these things that happened in the past, it's going to hinder what you can do in the future. He says, listen, there is only one individual, there is only one being who can do anything about that happened in the past, and it's me. I can bend time and space, and I can correct things that happened in the past. You can't. So why are you consumed or you are working or dealing with the things that happened in the past when it has no impact on what you're going to do in the future? Remember, I did all those things anyway, not you. But you can control, and you still have some say on things that happen in the unknown, in the future. And you can sit there and you can say, look, Josh, you don't understand. You don't understand the amazing things that happened in my life that made me the person I am right now. And you can say, Josh, you don't understand the horrible, bad things that ever happened to me that brought me to the place that I am right now. And I don't. And I can say the same to you. But all of that is irrelevant when we're dealing with what God says in His Word, and this is what God shares with us. Those good memories that you have, those amazing things that happened in your past, those are meant to build confidence for you as you go into the unknown. Think about what I did for you. Think about how I loved you. Think about the miracles I did for you. Think about the things I provided for you. And now you have confidence that I will do the same for you as you go into the future. I know you don't know what it looks like. I know you don't understand what's happening. I know that it's all confusing to you. But if I was that great to you back then, imagine how great I'm going to be to you when you go into the unknown and you step out on faith and you trust me. It's hard. Those bad memories are meant to build strength for the future. If you survive this with me, guess what you can survive over here? We did this together. We went through hell and back over here. We can do that over here. Imagine what we're going to come through on the other side over here. What's going to stop you now? You know you can endure this. You can just go right into the future as brave as you can be. You have the strength that you need to get through it. We can accomplish so many amazing things if you would just take faith and step into the future, into the unknown. God says, I'm tired of you focusing on the things of the past. You can't relive the great things of the past, and you can't dwell in the pain of the past because those will hinder the things you do in the future. As someone who's on an adventure, I want to tell you, this is awesome, but it's scary. It's awesome. The unknown is awesome, but it's scary. But I wouldn't give it up. And so you say, Josh, what does this mean for us today? It means the same thing I've been telling you guys for months. That God has a plan for your life. And that plan is an adventure into the unknown. He has already cleared the path. He's made the plans. He's freed up your time. He's given you everything you need to be successful. And now we're back to you. You just struggle to see it because you carry too much baggage. You're carrying too much past baggage that you can't see the unknown and you can't see the future because your arms are full. Some of you miss out on the adventure altogether because you're too slow to get on the adventure because you're too busy bringing all this junk and all this baggage, whether it's good or bad, from the past with you, and you can't keep up with the adventure that God's got for you because God's moving at a breakneck speed, and you're like, God, I can't keep up. I'm carrying all this baggage with me. Some of you are too in love with the greatness from the past baggage to leave it behind because those memories mean so much. And some of you are too consumed with the hurt and pain from the past baggage to leave it behind because you just love it so much. See, we let things mean too much to us that they shouldn't. And we carry them everywhere we go, and we shift them around, and we try to make it comfortable. But at the end of the day, it's still old, heavy baggage that we are carrying that we don't need to carry, and it's hindering us from going where God wants us to go. Here's the harsh spiritual truth that's really going to sting. And when I saw this and when God showed it to me, it was really bad. Here's what we end up doing with this baggage that we carry. We are so in love with the past, or we have so much pain from the past that we let it consume us so much that we actually worship it. We worship it. We take those memories, whether they're good or bad, and we let them have priority in our lives, and we let them work on our focus of life and what we think about and what we dwell about and what we meditate on, and we keep those great things from the past, and we go, man, I love that so much, and we long for it so bad, or we take the hurt from the past and we hold on to it, and we just are dwelling in it, and we're just letting the pain and the agony hurt us, and we just go, oh yeah, this is so bad, I just want to wallow in it, and we take all that and we let it consume our time and our energy and our effort, and we live with that past, and then we take it and we look at God and we go, God, I know you're on this throne. You already told me you're on the throne, but here's what I need you to do. I need you to just scooch over a little bit so I can put all this stuff over here, because at the end of the day, God, I really think about that way more than I think about you, and I really dwell on that a whole lot more than I think about you. And when I think about those great times, man, that really brings me a whole lot more joy than when I actually think about you. And we end up worshiping those things, and God will not share his throne with anyone or anything for any reason. And then we look at our lives and we go, why is it falling apart? And God goes, because you are worshiping the past, and I have something amazing for you in the future. Let go of the baggage. Put it all down. You don't need it. You only need to take what you need to survive. And I have a message that's coming where he says, listen, take with you only what you need to survive. And I'm all you need to survive. We look at this and we say, God, the unknown is so scary. I like this baggage, and I'm sorry that I worship this baggage. How do I get rid of it? How do I deal with it? God, I know this is bad, but I have these moments that are really special to me, and I really want to hold on to them. And he's like, no, it's me. Me is what you need to worry about. You tend to care more about the past than you do about the future. And you care more about the things you can't change than the things that you can. Where you have been is more important than where you're going. What happened to you is more important than what is waiting for you. Your old happiness steals your new happiness. Your past damage hinders your future growth. Remember that God is fully aware of the entire timeline. I share this with teenagers all the time. Your life is like a parade. You're watching a parade. And all you can see is the event that's happening in front of you. But God is up above and he sees the entire parade. He sees the path that it's going down, the winding that it happens. He sees the beginning and the end, and he knows right where you're at in that parade. He's fully aware of the great things that happen to you. He's fully aware of the horrible things that happen to you, the abuse, the depression, the hurt, the agony, the pain. But he's also aware of all the great things that happen to you, the love, the way that people just brought you to the place that you are today. He's aware of all of those things. And he has a uniquely designed adventure for you into the unknown. And so here's the key to understanding this whole thing, and it's super simple. You've heard me say it once, you're going to hear me say it a ton more. I say it to teenagers all the time. There is no age restriction on this. There is a God who has a plan for your life. And if there's a God that has a plan for your life, there is a devil that has a plan for your life. And you choose your own adventures. You choose whose plan you follow. I don't choose your plan. You choose the plan. You choose the adventure that you go on. The reason this is titled Choose Your Own Adventure is because an adventure into the unknown is extremely scary, and an adventure into the unknown can mean a ton of different things. It can turn your world upside down, and it can change your world in an instant. But you get to choose. You get to choose whose plan you follow. Am I going to follow the plan that God has for me, or am I going to follow the plan that the devil has for me? And I don't want this to be misconstrued by anybody saying, listen, Josh, are you telling me to walk away from the life that I have? No. I'm telling you, you need to have a conversation with the creator of the universe. That's what I'm telling you need to do. Because what if you are trapped in that mundane plan that the devil has for you and you're missing out on the unknown adventure that God has for you? Would you regret going into that unknown adventure? If you had to leave everything behind, could you leave everything behind? If Jesus said, you come, follow me, could you be like, bye, and leave everything behind and go with him onto that adventure? We tend to think, well, those guys back then didn't have as much to lose as we had to. They didn't have as much to leave behind, and they did. They had just as much to leave behind as you do. But Jesus said, am I enough? Will you come? Will you follow me into the unknown? Well, let's go on an adventure. Are you going to come? Or are you going to say, no, I'm good. I like my algorithm. I like my spreadsheets, my calendars, my paychecks, my holidays, my vacations. I like my mortgage payments, my car payments, my utility bills. I love them. No, God, I'd rather stay here. I don't know what your adventure is. Yours is different than mine. All I can tell you is, as someone who is on their adventure, You won't regret it. God's plan into the future and into the unknown takes 100% faith on your part. Satan's plan to dwell in the past where nothing can be done and nothing can be changed requires nothing. One of those plans is full of adventure and is full of life and is full of excitement and requires that you give everything you have to it. The other one is safe and calm and requires that you do absolutely nothing. So the question is, where do you want to go? And what do you want to do? And that is only something that you and the creator of the universe, your Lord, Holy One, Creator, and King can discuss, and no one else. And so I encourage you to have that conversation, to sit down with your Lord, your Holy One, your Creator, and your King, and have a serious conversation about where He wants you to go and the adventure He wants you to be on. Because it'll change everything. It'll change everything. And I don't want you to sit here and be like, Josh, you don't understand. I'm a little bit older. There's no age requirement. Josh, you don't understand. I haven't even started my life yet. There's no age requirement. Josh, you don't understand. I've got a lot of stuff. There's no stuff requirement. There's literally nothing keeping you from having that conversation with God except 100% faith that He has an amazing plan and adventure for you, designed just for you, that leads you to His greatness. God, thank you for this morning. I thank you for this opportunity to open your word. I thank you for the message that you've given. I pray that it was delivered clearly and concisely. I pray that it was delivered in love. I pray that it was received in love. And I pray that, as always, our hearts would be stirred, our souls would be moved, that at the end of today we do nothing but to seek out your will and to seek your face and to do what you have called us to do. Whether it makes sense, whether it's into this dark unknown, whether it's into the future where we can't control anything and we have to leave it up to you. God, I just pray that we would be willing to choose the right adventure and to move into a place where we can just grow closer to you and do what you have designed us to do and to be on the adventure that you have designed for us. God, as always, we love you. We thank you for everything in Jesus' name. Amen.